All right, guys, welcome to another episode of Sexual Mastery. Today I'm going to be talking about porn addiction. 1 out of every 10 men in this modern age are addicted to porn. This is a huge epidemic, this worldwide problem that is porn addiction. So I'm going to get into that deeper, and I'm going to give you some tools to overcome this. If you are suffering from porn addiction, if this is something that affects you, I'm going to give you guys some tools to release this pattern from your life. So just to tell you a bit about myself, those who may be joining me for the first time, I'm Jonathan Wyatt. I'm here to help you magnetize your sexual energy so you can I'm here to help you master your sexual energy so you can magnetize your ideal life. I've helped men from all over the world. I've helped hundreds of men step into their sexual power and use their sexual energy as a source of empowerment. So I'm all about helping you to empower yourself using your sexual energy. So getting into the subject of porn addiction, this is something that I dealt with in my life, and I see so many men struggling with this. So many men reach out to me because they're addicted to porn. They're trying to break this habit, and I'll be getting into why this is a harmful thing here. So porn addiction is it's a worldwide epidemic. You know, we have with the amount of access we have to the internet nowadays, it's so easy just to get on the internet, and 20% of the internet is porn. So it's hard to get around, and it's how most of us learn about sex, through porn, and it gives us a very out of context and very distorted view towards sexuality, and unfortunately creates a lot of traumas that we have to recondition ourselves from later in life. So porn addiction is a huge thing, and I have lots of guys that are reaching out to me struggling with this issue. So one of the big problems with porn is that looking at porn significantly raises our dopamine levels. It causes your dopamine levels to spike, up to 150 to 200% the normal levels. So when you're looking at porn consistently over a long period of time, your brain actually becomes desensitized to dopamine, and because you're peaking out, your dopamine receptors, and so your brain starts to desensitize itself to porn, and there becomes less receptor sites available for dopamine in the brain when you're constantly looking at porn. And what happens from this is that, so whenever you're not looking at porn, you're in a very low state because your dopamine receptors are burned out. So you feel, a lot of people feel social anxiety. They have a lack of confidence, a lack of energy, attention deficit, and inability to pay attention and concentrate, depression, low motivation, low libido. So these are some symptoms of low dopamine levels, dopamine deficiency, which is something that usually happens when people are constantly looking at porn. It burns us out. It burns out our dopamine receptors. And so this is one of the huge things, because when you're looking at porn, it's like you're looking at all these images, of all these different women or whatever you're looking at. And it's like every time you click on a new video or picture or whatever, your brain gets this burst of dopamine. And, so when you're clicking on picture after picture, video after video, it's just like hit after hit of dopamine, and it's overstimulating, it's overwhelming, and it just burns you out. It burns out your brain, your dopamine levels, and it just really causes a lot of harmful effects on many levels. And another problem with porn is that it teaches men to be lazy. So it's like, you get this instant gratification when you're looking at porn. You just click on an image and you get that dopamine release, you get that feel good, and so it's instant gratification. You don't have to work for it. So it's like, why would you go out to the gym? Why would you go out and accomplish things when you can just sit at your computer and watch porn? And unfortunately, this becomes a habit for many men. And so it teaches us to, because there's no emotional connection in porn, and it gives us a very distorted image of what sexuality is. And like I said before, most of us in this age, we learn about sex through porn. And so it gives us this very limited view of what sex actually is and what it can be. This very, very, it teaches us men to associate with the purely physical aspects of sex, because it's always zoomed in on people's genitals. And so we're just so focused on this one small aspect of sex, which is the physical penetration part. And so we just start obsessing over that. And we start, as men, we typically learn and are conditioned to experience this purely genital centered orgasm, which ends in us ejaculating. And so this is a very limited type of sexual experience. And unfortunately, it's the only type that most men have experienced. And it was for me for a long time until I started learning about, these higher sexual practices and learning how you can get your whole body involved with the sexual process. Because I've said this a lot before, but typically men, we're very closed down. Our bodies are closed down. And so we only experience sexual pleasure in our genitals. We are unable typically to get our whole body involved in the sexual process. And so we have this very limited genital orgasm where we're spewing our energy out, as we ejaculate, instead of bringing that energy through the body. When your body's open, when your energy channels are opened, you can bring that energy through your body and have these internal orgasms that charge you up instead of discharging yourself. So that's one of the problems with looking at porn, is it causes us to associate. We'll learn about these very limited aspects of sexuality, and it's very out of context. As I said, we don't learn to form emotional bonds with our partners. We don't learn how to connect with our partners and, connect on a deep level. It's just this very limited thing. How to make DMT? I can't help you with that one. But yeah, it's a difficult thing because it's so easy. The internet's so full of porn and sexual stimulation, and so it's really easy to fall into that rabbit hole of, peaking dopamine levels and desensitivity. And another big problem with porn is that it causes men to so a lot of men, they've been in relationships, and then maybe their the sexual connection is kind of dwindling, so they start looking at porn instead of connecting with their partner. And this causes a lot of problems because one of the nature of sexual energy is that it bonds things together. It glues us to things, like if you've been in a relationship with someone for a long time and you break up with them, you still feel them in your field. You still feel very connected to them because you're glued to them. That's what sexual energy does. It creates these ties between us. So when you're constantly looking at porn and masturbating to porn, you're sending your sexual energy out to, some fictional image, maybe some person somewhere else. You're sending your energy out and you're attaching yourself to these images. So you're gluing yourself to porn, and it causes these very addictive patterns. It's why one of the reasons it becomes so addictive for people, and it's a difficult thing to break. How can I shed light on this topic to my partner without making him feel less than? That's a good one. Is your partner looking at porn a lot? Is it something that's affecting your relationship? Because it really, often what happens is men, so they've been in a relationship and now they're looking at porn, and then suddenly they feel their partner feels disconnected from them because the man's sending his sexual energy to these pornographic images, and that's where all of his energy is going. Then he's, after a man ejaculates to a pornographic image, he's drained because he's just sent his energy out to a black hole and he's not getting it back. So this creates a lot of problems in relationships. And men who are doing this, their partners can pick up on this. They know that something's wrong, that they just can tell that their partner's really not there because he's, gluing himself to pornographic images. So there's so many layers to this. It's a deep topic. And one of my goals is to really help men become aware of this and to, remove these addictive patterns from your life. How long does it take to feel the belief of testicle breathing? Do you mean belief or benefit of testicle breathing? With any of these practices, just, keep doing them every day. There's really no period of time as to when you'll start feeling the energy. It's different for every person. Just keep working with it. Just be open with it. Just kind of play with it and have fun, and just notice what it does for you. Been on NoFap, day 8, relapsed night. No big deal. Just keep going with it. It happens. Okay, feel the benefit of testicle breathing. Yeah, like I said before, just keep working with it every day, and just by doing it, you're getting the benefit. You're working towards gaining skill in an internal practice, and it can take a bit of time to really get the hang of it, but with continued practice, you'll start to feel that energy moving and you will get the benefit from it. So just keep working with it and don't worry about it too much. So we kind of get to the issue of what makes a man How often do you need to strengthen your pelvic floor? I do pelvic floor strengthening exercises every day. It's something you can do anytime, anywhere, wherever you're at. You can just be squeezing your pelvic floor muscles and strengthening them. So important to have a strong pelvic floor for a man. As we age, the pelvic floor tends to become weak, and it also is connected to all the organs. The tendons and the fascia from the pelvic floor connects to all the organs. And if the pelvic floor becomes weak, the organs start to sag towards the pelvic floor. So by keeping your pelvic floor strong, you keep yourself young, you keep yourself healthy, and it's one of the essential tools for arousal control and being able to circulate sexual energy through the body. Is having a strong pelvic floor, because it connects to all the organs, it connects to different areas of the body. So keep yourself young by working out your pelvic floor. So let's see. Yeah, so we look at the reasons of why are men seeking porn in the first place. So it's usually a reflection of, we're seeking something. The underlying reason is usually of a desire for connection. We want to connect to someone. We want to feel, we're humans. We need to connect with people. And for men, often a very simple way to feel like they're getting this connection is to look at porn. But the problem is that it's a false sense of connection. So they get this sexual stimulation, by looking at someone's naked body. So it makes them feel that sort of sense of intimacy, but it's not a true connection. There's no physical person there. So it's very imbalancing. There's no exchange of energy. They're just sending their energy out and they're not getting it back. So when you're dealing with this porn addiction, what it often is a need to, you're lacking something inside. You're typically reaching out to the external world to fill yourself up with something. And this is really what any addiction really is that we feel that like we're lacking something. And so we have to get it from the external world. And so when you have a lifestyle that fulfills you, when you have daily practice, habits that fulfill you, that energize you, that balance you, then you no longer have that need to reach out and take things from the outside world to try to fill yourself up with. And this is something that was a very powerful lesson for me. I used to have a lot of addictive patterns. I used to drink a lot of alcohol. I used to smoke weed every day when I was a teenager. And I used to look at porn and masturbate every day when I was a teenager. It's like I couldn't go to sleep at night unless I had, masturbated and ejaculated. So very draining patterns. But it was because these practices filled me up with energy, with life force, and it balanced my chemistry, my hormone levels. Of course, I started eating properly as well. A healthy diet is important as well. But having this daily practice that filled me up and kept me in the flow, connected to the universal life force. After I began this practice, all of my addictive patterns just naturally started falling away. I stopped drinking alcohol, and it wasn't like I was trying to quit. It's just like it made me feel like shit every time I drank. So I was like, oh, maybe I shouldn't do this anymore because I feel great without it. And so that was kind of the pattern that continued with all these other addictive patterns. And so it was never like I tried to rid them from my life. I just completely lost my desire because I had something new in my life that was fulfilling me. So this is one of the most effective ways of breaking addictive patterns in your life is having some sort of daily routine, something you're doing to improve yourself, to energize yourself, to keep yourself healthy and balanced. Super helpful for letting go of these addictive patterns in your life. Porn and weed damage teenager brains. I believe so. Definitely porn. I don't know enough about weed. Weed, is something that it can be beneficial. It has a lot of medicinal properties, but it also drains your energy. If you're a healthy person, then it's probably not a good idea to be smoking weed all the time, because personally, I noticed that it really drains my energy, causes brain fog. In Chinese medicine terms, it burns up your gene. It burns up your physical essence, your sexual essence. So that's one of the things that smoking weed does to you. And porn wreaks havoc on teenagers' brains. Everything I discussed before, it trains them to, it teaches them this very limited out of context view of sex, and teenagers don't learn how to properly connect with a woman, with a partner, through porn. It just teaches you how to have, physically slam into your partner and make sex this physical act. Replace bad habits with good. Yes, exactly. That's exactly it. You've got to, if you want to change something, you've got to put something else in its place, or else you're going to go right back into that habit. What's the best way to transmute sexual energy when you're aroused? Move it through your body. If you have open energy channels, you can take a deep breath, squeeze your pelvic floor, squeeze some other muscles, and just move that energy through your body, through your energy channels. Of course, to do this, you need to have those channels open in the first place. So the first step to transmuting sexual energy is opening up these energy channels. Open up the microcosmic orbit, up the back, down the front of the body. There's other channels you can open up and work with as well. So that's basically how you transmute sexual energy, aroused sexual energy. So I want to give you guys some tools how you can, if you are struggling with porn addiction, really in any other addiction, Kegel will send it up. Kegels are helpful, but it takes some other internal mechanics as well. So like being able to move energy through your body, but Kegels are foundation. Falun Gong, yeah, it's more of a spiritual practice. What to do about blue balls during semen retention. Blue balls means that things are stuck, energy's stuck. So when you're practicing semen retention, you're building up all of this raw sexual energy, and it really actually doesn't do you a whole lot of good unless you're able to circulate that energy through your body, unless you're able to open up, like as I said before, open up your channels, move that sexual energy through. You need to keep it moving, or else it will become frozen, it will become stuck, and you'll have blue balls. This is what happens to a lot of guys who are doing nofap and semen retention, rather uneducated, is that their sexual energy just gets stuck in their balls and they have blue balls. So blue balls means that you're not circulating your energy. So learn testicle breathing, work with the microcosmic orbit. These are very helpful things for blue balls. Okay, so I'm gonna give you guys some tools, a couple suggestions. If you're trying to quit porn, if you have a porn addiction, you're trying to get over it, there's a few things you can do. So number one, this is for the more physical types of people, if you're into exercise and things like that, or even if you're not, these will be helpful for you. So if you're like having the urge to look at porn, you're feeling like, no, I need to look at porn. I can't do anything else, right? I need to do this. Go to the gym or go for a run, call up a friend, go play sports, something physical, something like when you're working out, when you're exercising, you get a natural dopamine release, but it's a lot more beneficial to you because you worked for it. You actually accomplished something. So you get that feeling of accomplishment and you get that healthy, natural dopamine release and that release of feel-good hormones from working out. So you'll feel a lot better if you're having that urge to look at porn and then you go do an intense workout. It will really help with you. Another thing, this is for the more creative types of people, turn that urge into creative energy. Because that urge is really it's the desire to connect or the desire to create. That's what sexual energy is. It's a desire to connect with others and create new life, birth new things. And that may or may not, that has very different meanings. So that's what sexual energy is in essence. It's the desire to create and the desire to bond. And so that may be what this desire to look at porn really is you want to create something, you want to bond. So make some art. Learn an instrument, write music, write a story, whatever creative work you do, paint a picture, do some creative work and channel that sexual energy into that. You may find that you're able to vent, those intense desires you have into creative work. And that's a very healthy way to express this energy, which is creative energy. And then another suggestion is just call up some friends, go hang out with some friends. As I said, often the sexual urge is a desire to connect. So go connect with some people you enjoy being around with, and you may find that desire to look at porn subsides. So these are just some different suggestions to look at porn, to get rid of the habit of porn addiction. And I want to show you guys a technique. I like to introduce techniques because we can talk about these things, but without some sort of practice, some sort of action that you're taking, it's just talk. So I want to show you guys a quick exercise to clear excessive energy. from the body. And you may find this very helpful if you're having like an urge to have some sort of addictive outlet, look at porn, whatever it is. Do this practice a few times, and you may find that it helps you, because this helps to clear out excessive energy from the body, any imbalances. So basically, you just lift your hands up above your head, and as you exhale, you bring the hands down the front of the body, and you're going to exhale with the sound. So it's like he. So, and as you're doing this, imagine that your body is this clear, empty tube, and you're just clearing energy through your body from head to toe down to the earth. So inhale, lift up your hands. Keep your eyes open as you do this. Look down. Just feel like you're clearing everything from head to toe down deep into the earth. Inhale again. And one more time. Inhale, really clearing out. And then just close your eyes for a moment and just feel the effects that had on your body. And feel like your body's expanding, like it's growing twice the size that it is. Just feel yourself expanding like a cloud. Feeling clear, feeling calm, smiling within. And that's it. It's quite simple. Gratitude for the life force. Yes, yes. Okay, guys. Well, any questions? You feel free to shoot some questions at me right now. Those of you who are on YouTube, my connection is not great right now. I don't know if you're trying to chat, nothing's showing up. So apologies. Are you coming back to Asheville? Yes, I will be in Asheville late June through early July. I'm going to a Taoist retreat there. I feel chi. It really works. Yeah, it's powerful. It's simple but effective. So yeah, do that exercise you can do it anytime. If you're feeling stressed, you're feeling anxious, or if you're feeling like you need to go look at porn, do this exercise instead. You can do it as many times as you want. It's very helpful and very powerful for clearing yourself. I'm just going to see if there's any more questions. Transformational breathwork. Oh, love link up. Yeah. I will. Send me a message or something, and I will let you know when I'm in Asheville. So transformational breathwork. This is another very, very powerful tool. One of my favorite practices I've learned. This was a very life-changing practice for me. I first did it. It was 2013. So, what year is it? Several years ago. Yeah. Anyways, this was a life-changing practice for me. Transformational breathwork is a technique. The breath is everything. Our habits of breathing are often connected to our emotional states, and many people breathe very shallow breaths. They're very locked up. Their bellies are locked up. The bellies are power center. It's our connection to our power. And as we experience the intensities of life, we tend to shut this area down. We close off our power and our ability to manifest, to lessen the intensity of life as we're experiencing. But this has very negative effects on our health and our states of being. So this is one of the benefits of some sort of breathing practice like transformational breathwork. And transformational breathwork works on very many layers. It works on the physical, works on the emotional, the spiritual. It's extremely powerful. And, basically what you do is the first breath, I'll just show you guys. The first breath is a deep breath into the belly, deep breath into the chest, exhale, belly, chest. That's the first breath of it. You can do that for, I'll do it for up to 45 minutes, and it's very, very powerful. You can get into some very altered states just from that, but it clears things out. As you do this for long periods of time, you get into sort of a trance. You get into a deep, almost psychedelic state, and things come up, things from your past, traumas, memories, All these different things come up as you do this practice, and it's very, very powerful. So yeah, one of my favorite tools, I always teach this to the men in my courses. Transformational breathwork is incredible. I can't say enough good things about it. So yeah, it's very powerful practice. Better to get a girlfriend than fat bro. How to? Yeah, yeah. You're kind of cut off there. How to G? Speaking in recent posts about gland correlation to the genitals, how to apply that insight. So you're talking about the sexual reflexology post I made. So basically for men, the glands of the penis, the head of the penis is a very sensitive area. And we tend to overstimulate this area. So many men, when they're masturbating, they focus on this area. They focus on the head and the glands of the penis. And because of the reflexology nature of the penis, this tends to stimulate, certain areas more than other areas. And so there can be kind of an energetic imbalance from that. But also, it tends to bring you very quickly to ejaculation because it's such a sensitive area. So it's important to, during sexual activity, spread the stimulation over the entire penis. Focus more on the base of the penis and the shaft versus just the head, and you will be able to last longer, and you'll be getting more of the full body reflexology benefits of the sexual stimulation. All right, guys, just kind of wrapping up here. Any other questions? Feel free to shoot them at me. Recommended length of time between ejaculations. Yeah, so it depends on your age. Typically for men, I say no more than every 2 weeks. So depending on your age, one formula that's good that I go by is, I got this from Stephen Chang, who's a Taoist teacher. He says you take your age multiplied by 0.2. So for me, I'm 30, so that would be about 6 days. And then what you get, this is the minimum amount of days you should go between ejaculations. So I'm 30 years old, so that means I shouldn't ejaculate more than once every 6 days. And typically, I go much longer than this personally. And then the second part of your question, Will, if you accidentally ejaculate before you want to, are there practices or foods to replenish? Yes. Some really great foods for replenishing semen for a man. Anything rich in zinc. If you eat animal products, oysters are super rich in zinc. If you don't eat meat, pumpkin seeds are great. Chia seeds, goji berries. Goji berries are like one of my number one Jing replenishing. Jing is our physical essence, semen essence. So goji berries, maca root. Take a zinc supplement after ejaculating. Let's see, anything else. Ginseng, but be careful about ginseng. I only take American ginseng because Korean ginseng and Chinese ginseng are way too heating for me. I took Korean ginseng a few months ago and I was up all night, like just sweating and my heart was pounding. It was way too heating. So American ginseng, though, is very good for replenishing because as men, when we ejaculate, we lose our yang essence. So these foods will help you to quickly recover and regain that essence. And as far as practices, Qigong is great. Any sort of grounding practice is great as well. I do a lot of standing meditation practices. That's great for building your sexual energy. So any type of grounding and kidney building practices, because the kidneys in Chinese medicine are, the genitals are part of the kidney system, and this is responsible for producing our sexual energy. They're the batteries of the body. So yes, strengthening the kidneys. Siberian ginseng and ashwagandha. Ashwagandha is great. Siberian ginseng, which is Eleuthero. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. That's a great supplement as well. So yeah, those are great for building sexual energy. So I like to also take a Chinese herb formula for increasing sexual energy. Like in the wintertime, I'll take this because that's the time when our kidney energy tends to be depleted, is the wintertime, the cold months. So I take a formula by Dragon Herbs called Shou Wu formulation. He Shou Wu is a common Chinese herb for building sexual energy. Qigong is great. I suggest the book, The Healing Promise of Qi. Yeah, that's a good one. Qigong is fantastic. It's my favorite. Okay, guys, any last questions? I'm just wrapping up here. Thanks everyone for joining me today. And to those of you watching on YouTube, I'm sorry my chat is not working. So if you're chatting to me on YouTube, I can't see it. I apologize. There's probably some questions coming up there. Like I said before, I'm in Sedona, Arizona right now. Amazing place, but my internet connection is terrible. All right, guys. Well, thank you for joining me today. I'm going to jump off of here. So yeah, join me again next week, same time, 5:30 Pacific time. And take care, everybody. Porn and weed, alcohol damage teenager brains, bro. I already addressed this, but basically, yes. Definitely alcohol and porn harm your brain. It's as I said before, the porn just causes so many issues on so many levels. I addressed this before. And weed is questionable. It definitely has harmful effects, but also has medicinal effects if you need medicinal effects. So anyways, but basically these things can be harmful to anyone, really. Okay, guys, I'm going to jump off here. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you next time. Have a good day.